Hi friends, it's me, Beth. Hopefully still your favorite tarot reader, even though it's been a minute since I've posted a YouTube video, but I'm back because I wanted to post a video for Libra season. So Libra season just started today, September 22nd, and it goes through October 22nd, and a really big theme of Libra season is balance. And I think a lot of times when we think about balance, we think about equality or being equal, like 50-50, and that's not actually what balance means. And I think that we need to kind of bring that into this reading. So for example, if you think about somebody on a balance beam, they don't usually have both of their legs on the beam. Like maybe they're balancing on one leg. So it's not that 50% of their weight is on one leg and 50% of their weight is on another leg. That's not it at all. The balance comes from the way that they are like manipulating their body to create a balance. And I think that that's a really big aspect because I just kept getting that image in mind when I was just kind of thinking about this season and this reading and what we were going to ask for this reading. And that was just coming to mind quite a bit. This idea of like balance does not mean 50-50. Balance means creating a stability based on kind of prioritizing the different areas of your life and finding something that just, it feels good and it creates a security for you. And again, that stability. And so that's kind of the focus that we're going to have. So I have several questions that we're going to ask to help you to bring more balance into your life, as well as some of the other themes of Libra season. So let me know what you think. Let's go ahead and get started. So first, let's take a look at what area of your life needs to be rebalanced the most, or is really in need of an examination of balance. Thank you, Spirit. What area of life needs to be balanced the most for crystals? Okay, this immediately is making me think about rest. This doesn't necessarily mean that you just need more rest, but I feel like it means that you need more restful rest. So maybe for some of you, this means that like instead of just like doom scrolling, you are actually you're laying around and like doom scrolling. That's not actually resting your mind. It's not resting your spirit. If you're just like watching TV or things like that, you have to find a way that you're actually regenerating, recuperating, recovering through your rest. There are some really good articles online you can look up about the 7 types of rest. I feel like that might also be very helpful and kind of look at like which areas you maybe need to bring in more rest. So it's not just about physical rest, but spiritual rest, creative rest, mental rest, social rest, things like that. And I feel like that's the area that you really want to kind of bring more and focus on balancing out in terms of rest. It might be literal though too for some of you, like actually dedicating more hours into sleep. So that might also be something that you need to do. Let me know what type of rest or how you're going to bring more rest and more balance into your rest. When we're thinking about balance, sometimes that means we need to do more. And sometimes that means we need to do less. So let's take a look at that. What area of your life do you need to actually do more to create more balance in your life? Queen of Wands. Okay, I actually feel like this is about you creating a sense of more power within yourself. So maybe you've actually been giving away your power too much. And I think maybe you need to kind of know more about when to keep your power for you and use your power. So it's more leaning into your power, more owning your own power. So sometimes you're using your power, you're overexerting your power and you're not saving enough power for you. Sometimes you are letting people take advantage of you and you should really like own your power. So I feel like it's like more of conscious using of your inner power, your inner fire with the Queen of Wands. Is there something else about this? I feel like there's maybe something else. That's why I'm making that face. Is there something else? Yeah, okay, 4 stars. So something else that maybe you're worried about here is that you're worried that if you give too much of your power that you won't have any left. And so on the one hand, don't overexert so that you don't have any more for yourself, like especially in terms of physical usage of your power. But I also feel like you don't even realize how much power you have. You have such a depth. Like look at how much power is behind her in this throne. You have like all these blue flames, right? You have actually so much more power and you're almost like diminishing your power by not using it. So how do you create more balance in your life in Libra season? You actually step even more into your power. You are a more powerful being than you are giving yourself credit for, and you are holding yourself back too much right now. And so to create more balance in the world, it's like the world needs you to step more into your power. Now let's take a look at an area in your life where you need to do less to create more balance? What's an area of your life to do less to create more balance? Thank you for this collective spirit. What's an area of your life? Ooh, interesting. Page of Wands coming out now. That's very interesting because we have the Queen of Wands, you have to do more. The Page of Wands, you have to do less. Okay. So I feel like maybe with the Page of Wands, this is about maybe being impulsive and maybe overexerting in spaces that you don't need to insert yourself in. I feel like maybe this is like, are you fighting on social media? Are you getting caught up into things and it's not actually like you're being like a keyboard warrior and not like an actual warrior? I feel like that might be a place to do less, or places also where you're giving. Oh, I feel like you're getting angry about stuff that like you really just don't have very much control over. And I feel like you need to almost, with the 9 of Stars on the bottom of the deck, I feel like it's confirming this too. You're almost like giving away too much of your creative energy, and you need to like create in like a creative bubble. So I feel like that might be where you do less. There's a lot around social media coming up for me as I'm talking about this for whatever reason. So maybe this is a good time to reevaluate like where you are putting your energy. Like maybe you're over consuming news. There's a difference between like being informed and being just like inundated. So that might be another type of balance that you need to strike into your life. The other thing I'm getting about just where to do less, I feel like is, I feel like it's like hot-headedness. It's just like your anger coming out. And so if you are feeling like angry, resentful, those might be like that feeling is a good indication that that's an area to pull back from. If you feel like you're giving a lot and not getting a lot in return, that's an area to get more rebalanced, because like your anger is actually a really good sign for you that you have to pull back, do less. Okay, so that's another way to bring more balance into your life. It's interesting, I keep getting all these downloads around like social media and the news and things like that, because part of Libra is also about having a social consciousness, and it is about like social justice and things like that. There's, the theme of justice. The justice card is a Libra card. So let's talk about how to balance your social consciousness with your personal well-being. Thank you, Spirit. So what advice do you have for this collective about balancing social consciousness with personal well-being? Page of Cups. Okay. I feel like one of the things that you are meant to do during this Libra season, like I feel like you might be getting ideas, or maybe you even already have some creative ideas that Spirit is sending to you that you're supposed to put out into the world. 6 of Wands, wow. And the Star card and the Empress card on the bottom of the deck, the 10 of Cups on the bottom of the deck too. Oh my goodness, wow. Okay, so with the Page of Cups, it's like there's some creative ideas that have been coming to you. They might have already come, especially like in the past few weeks. They can come more in Libra season 2, but I feel like maybe it's this idea of like, okay, there's some creative idea that you were given. When we think of creativity, a lot of times I think we think about art, but it doesn't have to be art. It could be literally anything that's just like an idea that comes to you, that's something that you're going to create. Like if you create spreadsheets, that's still creation. Okay, so like don't get too caught up in like what does creativity necessarily mean. It's literally like creating. Okay, but I feel like Spirit's giving you some sort of idea, has already given you an idea that like it needs for the greater good, and is like to bring out into the community. And I feel like by you putting this out there, that then you're going to help other people heal. You help other people to like step into a healthier, beautiful space. Okay, like instead of all the negative things that are maybe in the social consciousness right now, kind of bringing some healing, some love, some warmth, some joy, something that actually helps people to like feel better in their daily lives in some way. I don't know. You'll know what it is for each person. Like every single person has their own unique talents, strengths that they can use. And I feel like this is part of like Spirit has given you these gifts. And I feel like you need to kind of like figure out what those gifts are and put them out into the world. And that is a way that you can feel like you're kind of contributing into society and into your community. I also really feel like this can be very like, it can be localized in a way, okay? You don't need to take on the problems of like the entire federal government or the entire globe, for example. This might be something where like, you know, if you have a social media reach, maybe you can do something on your platform that's already like your community. Maybe if you you don't have a social media reach at all, that's okay. You have some sort of reach. You have some sort of influence over the people around you. Your friends, your network, whatever it might be. Maybe it's a reach at work. Maybe it's a reach through your family. Maybe you're influencing young children in your life. There's some sort of reach that you have that you're going to be able to do something and that's going to actually like make things better for people and helps them through kind of like these difficult times. That's what I'm getting. So yeah, let me know if there's something that you are already kind of thinking about that maybe you feel like you need to put out into the world. The justice theme and just Libra themes in general can also relate to diplomacy. So let's take a look at where in your life you could stand to be maybe more diplomatic. Thank you, Spirit. Where could this collective stand to be more diplomatic? 9 of Wands. I think it's like knowing when to fight your battles, okay? So sometimes with the 9 of Wands, it's the idea of like, you don't always need to be on the offensive. You don't always need to be ready to attack. You can maybe just, you know, have your guard up, have your boundaries around maybe conversations that you're going to get involved in, but you don't necessarily need to be like the attacker. Yeah, and I think also ask yourself, because I say the Sun card, like, is whatever exchange I'm going to get in, is this going to bring me more joy? Anything else? Queen of Cups. If you are going to express something, especially, I feel like a lot of this has to do with like political and social consciousness, right? So I feel like if you are going to talk to somebody, trying to like lead with compassion, because if you just attack them and attack their character, they're not going to receive it anyway. So you're just wasting your energy and theirs as well. If you can come from a place of compassion and understanding, you might actually be surprised with how positive of an outcome you actually can achieve in those conversations. So, you know, if you're like talking to somebody that you actually know about a difference in how they see something, maybe like political or something like that. And I don't even want to say a difference in opinion, because there are certain things that aren't really like, racism is not a difference of opinion, for example, but maybe you're trying to approach somebody. And so instead of coming at them and like, racism is not a difference of opinion, you can say something like in a more compassionate way. I feel like there's something around how you can be more diplomatic and actually still kind of like win the battle. Libra is the traditional ruler of the 7th house of the zodiac, which has to do with long-term partnerships. That can be like romantic partnerships, it can be business partners. It also is the house of open enemies. And so I want to take a look at, that means like an enemy that is literally like in the open, not somebody who's like going behind your back. It's literally like somebody that's like an enemy in the open. Okay, so I want to see what you need to know about an open enemy. Anything that you need to know about open enemies, thank you, Spirit, during this Libra season, something to address with open enemies. Page of Stars, interesting. I want to dig into this a little bit more. Give me a little bit more about this, Spirit. Page of Stars, 10 of Stars. Okay, wow. The 10 of Stars is making me think that for some of you, this might actually have to do with an open enemy that has been like, it could be a family member. It could be especially like an elder family member, because I do see also that, wow, yeah, Hermit, 3 of Crystals, 5 of Cups, 10 of Crystals. Oh my goodness, it's somebody that's really hurt you. I feel like it's somebody that you've known for basically like your whole life. Like it's like you were born into this like contract with them. And I feel like there's something here where you can decide how much of the like enemy role they get to still play in your life. And this might be something that you also like reevaluate and analyze as part of Libra season and welcoming more balance into your life. Okay, so for example, like maybe you have lots of tension with like one of your parents. And so maybe this is something that you kind of decide, like, how much energy do you want to keep giving to this? Is there some energy that you can like release and let go of? There's some grieving that you might need to do. This is actually a Libra card with the 3 of Crystals. The 2, 3, and 4 of Crystals or Swords would be Libra cards. if you're trying to practice tarot on your own as well. And I feel like there's like a way for you to kind of like, yes, there's this like open difficulty between you and this person, but I feel like there's a way for you to really let go of some of that. Wow, with the Death card, that's so interesting. So yeah, that seems like a really powerful energy. Let's dig into this just a little bit more. Thanks, Spirit. Tell me a little bit more about maybe family in Libra season, or any other advice you have about this for this collective. Two of Cups. You might actually find a way, especially with that Page of Stars coming out. It's like you might actually be able to find a way that the two of you can like really get along and have like a union that is fulfilling for both of you. It's not just like sweeping all the problems under the rug, but kind of figuring out like where can you work together, be aligned in your lives, because it does seem like this is somebody who is they're already in your life, and they're going to continue to be in your life. So how do you manage through that? That's what I'm getting. Now let's take a look at the 7th house aspect in terms of long-term partnerships, especially on the romantic side. Libra is also ruled by Venus. Venus is a planet of love, so we're going to spend some time on the romance side of things now. I know it's something that you want to know about. So I want to look at first, if you are already in a long-term partnership, what you might be able to expect in Libra season. Thank you, Spirit. If you're already in a long-term partnership, what can you expect in Libra season? The energy for this collective, for the long-term partnerships already in Libra season. Wow. Oh my gosh. 6 of Cups, High Priestess, and the Fool card. Okay, first of all, if you are not trying to get pregnant, I feel like you need to be careful this Libra season, because there's some pregnancy cards here, okay? Yeah. So just that's enough on that. If you don't want to get pregnant this season, just be mindful, okay? But I do see the 6 of Cups, the High Priestess, the Fool card is telling me that if you are in a long-term partnership with somebody, I feel like there's so much of this like very deep connection that you can create. Much, much, much deeper than normal. This is really beautiful, actually. There's a big like change, a shift almost. I feel like there's you having this level of like deep knowing or a deeper knowing that this person, like the soul connection between the two of you. I feel like some of the problems between the two of you maybe are like evaporating. It feels like less baggage coming through. And yeah, it just feels like really beautiful balanced partnership. The 6 of Cups is also about the balance. And so like, that's really, really great. Like the even energy exchange, a harmonic energy exchange is like a theme of the 6 of Cups. So that matches very nicely with Libra. The High Priestess is very intuitive, and it's a very emotional, but in a divine emotional way, right? So like being in tune with your emotions and really like feeling into them and loving your emotions, whether they're, you know, emotions that we typically see as challenging or typically like want to have. That whole spectrum of emotions is actually really beautiful. I do feel like some of this also comes from Mars being in Scorpio. Mars will be in Scorpio for the entirety of this Libra season. And so there is like a deep feeling and like an action related to like the deep feeling in there as well. Yeah, there's something related to that for sure. Let's see what it looks like if you're not currently in a romantic partnership, what you can expect in Libra season, or what advice there might be for you if you're not currently in a romantic partnership. Thank you, Spirit. 7 of Crystals. I feel like this is an opportunity for you to evaluate. I think for some of you, you've written off wanting to be in a partnership. You have almost like a negative view of being in a partnership, because I think your past relationships, you called them partnerships. I don't think they really were. And I feel like something that you can spend time doing in Libra season is kind of reflecting on like the imbalance that happened in past relationships that's almost like turning you off from wanting to be in a partnership. And then to think about, what does it mean to be in a partnership with balance? What does that mean for you? What do you need to give and receive? What do you hope they give and receive? I feel like that's a really big thing. I see the 9 of Cups on the bottom of the deck as well. So I feel like this is how to kind of like use this manifestation energy, how to call in a romantic partnership, and how to call in this like emotional contentment in your life. I think, like I said, for some of you, I feel like you're like, I don't even want a romantic partnership. And I think, you know, like, look, like that's fine if that's the reality. But I think a lot of you, that's coming from a place of pain, 5 of Crystals, because you're just scared of being hurt again. You're scared of what past relationships looked like. They weren't actually partnerships, I think, for a lot of you. So yeah, that's the message I'm really getting. I think that's the thing that you need to evaluate. So that you can, wow, I feel like there's like a Saturnian energy here too, with Saturn retrograde. This is, if you're not currently in a partnership, this is something to really reflect on. And even if you are in a relationship right now and you just feel like it's not a partnership, this is something to really reflect on and to decide like how you want to move forward. There's big energy here with the World card. All right, let's see if there's any other final messages for you about Libra season. Thank you, Spirit. Any other final messages for this collective regarding Libra season this year? 9 of Cups. This can be a really beautiful personal season. Love that for you. This can be a very beautiful personal season, but notice how the card is symmetrical and it is about balancing your emotions. So I think that's the main takeaway. Balance within yourself, balance the way that you are in the world, and you will end up having a really beautiful season. So let me know how it goes. And as always, if you want to work with me one-on-one, I offer personal tarot readings as well as a VIP coaching program. I am a certified life coach. I offer these at my stan.store, which is stan.store/IntuitivelyBeth. I'll put that in the description of this video, but I would love to work with you.